It is a warm and smoky day out here in the Mount Hood National Forest. As you can see, got my my Pilot out here. But I'm not the only Honda that made its way all the way out here with the bad boy Toyotas back there. I have the one and only Mezzfin.
Here.
So, John, now that you finally have your full setup, your Ridgeline's outfitted.
I know.
We're in the middle of nowhere,
Pretty much.
on a mountain. Why don't you walk me around and see how your everyday camping goes, right? So obviously the Ridgeline has some modifications to it, right?
Well, this one does have the 1.5-inch lift all the way around, so not just a leveling kit, actually the 1.5-inch lift. I did upsize the tires just a tiny bit, about the biggest you can fit in there, so those are a touch bigger than standard issue, so you get a little more ground clearance there. I did add the J Sport truck bed rack there, courtesy of you, I believe, and that was a great fit, so add a couple goodies there.
Well, yeah, I mean, the nice thing with yours is you're actually utilizing it for something.
Yes.
This guy.
For those of you who remember the Passport that I used to have, the lift gate on a Passport would mean it would hit this, so it had to be way, way far forward. Now that I've got the bed rack and the truck, it can actually be where I can actually reach it a little bit better.
Now I can see that it overhangs here with no support. Have you had any issues with bowing or anything?
No, if I did put structural stuff on top of it, but the joint is actually here. And on the Passport, the last connection point was back here. So I was worried about that, but now it is supported. It is fairly stiff. It's not much of a worry for me at this point. And I did do some structural stuff on top in order to keep it that way as well.
Nice.
We did add, the Rotopack mount here. We do have an 11-pound propane carrier right there.
Now, I think this is actually missing because it's got a pretty important purpose tonight, right?
Yeah, well, it does. It's not gone missing. It's just over here.
Oh.
That's the good news. So, yes, we are using it courtesy of the Gator tire table that we have, and it's actually propping up the Uni once again, doing yeoman's duty for tonight. Underneath the protection of the awning, courtesy of Napa, and this is an awning that came out right around COVID, and I think it was about $99 at the time, and it sold out in 2 seconds, and they got smart and raised the price to $139 or something like that. So
it's probably still selling.
Well, I bought one, so yeah, I've been pretty pleased with it. I haven't really had much in the way of rain to test it out, or high winds. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that, but
I mean, the canvas seems thick.
Yeah, I mean, the reviews said for the money, it's a pretty good bang for the buck, so I'll take it. And then the only other thing I think I've done, well, a couple other goodies, but I've got the ditch lights that I threw on there, which
it's like a J Sport ditch light bracket.
Indeed,
here.
they are. They just mounted underneath the brackets to the hood.
Now, do you have these wired to a switch?
I do have a separate switch, so they're not they're wired to a remote.
A remote?
Yes.
Let's take a look at that, shall we?
We shall. So it's wired to this remote.
Oh.
And so it's directly wired to the battery, so it's got its own power, and I think it turned on.
Yep.
And then it's got the ever important whatever those mean.
Yeah.
And then if you really want to do something obnoxious, you can do that. So
that looks terrible.
there you go. You got a spot and a flood on each side, and hopefully that'll keep you out of the ditches.
Yeah. It's pretty handy to have an actual remote, not have to run anything through a firewall.
Yep, exactly. Nothing in the firewall. It just has got the little radio receiver there, and this gets it there. Then the other thing, it's not really a mod per se, but I've been really stoked with the addition of the 65-liter Yeti Tundra, and that's been just great to be able to put in here. It fills about, as you can see, about 3/4 of the space, which leaves you room to put a couple other goodies in there.
Yeah, but it fits perfect.
Yeah, it does, and it doesn't stop it from closing, and so actually keeps it colder longer because it's out of the sun. And yeah, couldn't be happier with that.
Nice. Yeah, that was a good pickup. I noticed a couple other things. This looks really handy. What's this?
So this is just a magnetic work light that I got off of Amazon, as you would, and You know, it rotates. It's got the magnets on it. Obviously, just an LED strip there that I could put anywhere, but sometimes I'll use it for a little bit of bed lighting.
Yeah, that's something I always missed having was light, because those lights on the side, especially when you have this thing open, they don't do anything.
Yep. So this is super cheap, super light. I've actually driven with it. It's pretty firmly attached there, so I don't have to worry about it bumping out.
And then it looks like you have a mount here.
Yes, for the ever popular axe and shovel.
I see. Looks like a Smitty built mount.
Do you say so? Because I believe I got that from good old Ira. So yeah, it works out pretty well.
Yeah.
And it's got a Fisker's axe. Is that what it is?
It is a Fisker's axe.
Okay.
The wing nuts were a nice addition though from when I had it, because obviously when you want to get in here, you want it obviously to be really tight so nothing rattles, and it's hard to get those nuts off.
Yep. If you haven't got a
socket
at the time. Yeah. No, it makes sense. So yeah, this setup works for me.
Oh, and one last piece, you can put a lock right in there.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, if I were driving around town and leaving it that way, I would do that. But
I like it. And just a ground tent here to go with the setup.
yeah, exactly. Little T4 works for me.
Nice. Well, thanks for giving us a tour of your ride, your Honda, and actually getting it out here and getting it into some wilderness.
Yeah, it's a good time. Thanks.